Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the life and inevitable death of Counter-Strike Global Offensive. The game was initially released on August 21st of 2012. It included casual deathmatch and arms race, which is a version of gun game from Counter-Strike Source. They included competitive matchmaking, but it's not even close to the competitive matchmaking that you know of today. It's basically 5 random people versus 5 random people. There were no skill groups yet. There were no anything. It was just, hey, everybody go at it. It wasn't until 2 months later, on October 30th of 2012, that they released the skill groups. In February of the following year, they released the Maps Workshop, which allowed you to edit, create, and upload your own custom maps for CSGO. This is what led to the Aimbots maps, which is the aim maps. This is what led to the crosshair generator maps. This is what led to the nade maps, which taught you how to throw smokes and fire bombs, all kinds of stuff. This was a huge part of the CSGO community in the future. So now we fast forward another 6 months to August 14th of 2013. The Arms Deal update is released. Now this is probably the largest update to this game of all time. This is when they added weapon skins to the game, which, as you all know, is an absolutely massive part of this game and this community. This is what put the game on the map, in my opinion. In order to capitalize on this update, Valve had to do 2 things. One, they released the Skins Workshop in October of the same year. This allowed regular people, the community, to create skins and upload them to the workshop. This allowed the entire community to vote on these skins and to vote their favorite. Now, what Valve would do is take the favorite skins from these collections and make them into actual collections. So the Phoenix collection, the Huntsman collection, so on and so forth. These are community-made skins that were made through this update. The other thing they did was release a massive skin update with 90 new skins only 1 month later. Now, these weren't community skins. They haven't done that yet. They just released 90 fresh Valve-made skins. Let's fast forward about 2 more weeks to December 13th of 2013. Valve introduces Overpass and Cobblestone to the competitive map pool. Overpass is a brand new map specifically made for CSGO. Cobblestone, it was there, but it was named Cobble in 1.6 in Source. They reworked the entire map with a fresh look, retaining the same layout. Players described the old Cobble as being tiny people on a giant's map, because you would fall to your death in several places. Now, while Cobblestone still does retain that same feel, they definitely made it much more bearable. Immediately following was the Winter Offensive update. Now this introduced gift giving and the very first community-made case, including community-made skins. 2014 seemed to be off to a really good start, releasing a new weapon, the CZ Auto, in early Q1. It was a very overpowered auto pistol. Unfortunately, it received tons and tons of nerfs later on. The only other update worth being mentioned is the Stickers Workshop being added only 8 days after that. Just like the Maps and Skins Workshop, the Stickers Workshop allowed the community to create stickers and therein vote on their favorite ones. The only other game-changing updates between about 2014 and about 2018 were the reintroducing of Train, Nuke, Inferno, and of course Dust 2, alongside the operations Phoenix, Breakout, Vanguard, Bloodhound, Wildfire, and Hydra. Now, Operation Hydra came with a very specific game mode called Wingman. Any CS player knows that Wingman is just retake from Counter-Strike Source. It's basically a way of learning how to retake a bomb site or defend a bomb site by spawning directly in them or right outside of them. It is one of the times, albeit the few, that Valve has actively listened to the community and introduced one of those game modes into their official game. Even after Operation Hydra came to a close, this game mode was still available as an option to play. 2018 has only brought us 2 notable things. A beautiful new interface that was released on August 16th of 2018 versus the old boring interface, and the introduction of a new silenced SMG called the MP5. Now, I've been waiting for years and years and years for the TMP to come into the game, and this is probably the closest I'm going to get, so I can't really argue about that. As far as the good, healthy updates for the game goes, that's pretty much it. There are a few game-breaking updates that they either undid or even still remain today. One of my favorite examples of Valve screw-ups is the Winter Nerf, which was around December 8th of 2015. They released an update that crippled all of the rifles and all of the pistols. What's so funny about this update is that it was immediately followed by a shadow update known as the D-Rank update. Now, this was not at all an official update, but was later proved when Brian Lev from Valve replied to a Reddit thread explaining that they released the update to readjust all of the ranks to where they're supposed to be because of how many players are playing and yada yada yada. None of this was corrected until about December 15th when they reverted all the guns back to the way they were before they adjusted anything, and released an apology on the interface of CSGO. On June 15th of 2016, the Prime Beta update was released into CSGO. This meant linking your phone number to your CSGO account, so it turned your account Prime. What this was supposed to do was put you into your own matchmaking with other Prime members. You could specifically search for other Prime members. That was a way of potentially filtering out cheaters. What they didn't realize this did was all of the people who already had CSGO accounts and who were playing for years and so on, they were in those Prime accounts. That's great. They had Prime. But the people who were new to the game automatically got filtered out of Prime because obviously they didn't have Prime. You have to be ranked 21 to get it. So all these new players coming into the game, they're solely versing Smurfs and cheaters and all that, because cheaters usually don't have a Prime account. I mean, obviously, you know how CSGO works, but a lot of the cheaters were filtered directly into non-Prime games. So those new players who you're trying to keep, you know, you're trying to introduce them to the game, keep them in the game, you're completely losing that retainment because they're going to play the game for 10 seconds and go, this game is awful, and then just leave. The only thing better than that is in November of 2017, they came out with Trust Factor. Trust Factor is basically an amalgamation of your account reports, of the games you play, of the hours you play, of the times you play. It takes all of these factors into account, and then it tries to match you with people with similar tastes and likes and reports. And if you get reported a lot, you only verse hackers. And the biggest thing is, if you're a Prime account holder and you're used to playing Prime every time, you physically have to click Prime only in every game. When you exit that game and your game is over, it unchecks it. It's Trust Factor is on by default. So there's no way to turn that off or on or anything. You have to deal with it every time, and you have to remember to click it every single time. It's the biggest joke that they've done like this entire time. Let's step away from their updates just for a second. Let's say I wanted to queue for a game really quick. Let's say I turned Prime on or left Prime off or used Trust Factor matchmaking. What would it be like? I know, you're probably thinking, oh, you should have restarted the queue, or oh, it's not that long. Except, it is that long. You would think that even waiting all of that time to play a competitive game, that all of these people would join and play competitively. But they don't. You would think that with Valve's, making you wait that long and everything, that it would be a fair game. It won't. Let me show you some of my favorite examples. Alright guys, you get my point. Obviously it's completely unfair for the other team, for my team, for whoever. What always ends up happening in this example is that, let's say you queue up against silvers and you're a higher rank, your account is going to get reported because they're going to think you're cheating. Now at the end of the game, they find out that you're a higher rank than them, but it's already too late. You've been reported, which means your trust factor has gone down, and it means every game after that point, you're going to continue versing other people who were reported. Now, who gets reported? Cheaters. So yes, you're going to verse a lot of cheaters, and I have versed plenty. Which moves me on to my next point, Valve's anti-cheat or lack thereof. Valve anti-cheat, or VAC, is a program embedded into every server that runs it, basically. So all official matchmaking servers, a lot of community servers that they pay for it, they have VAC embedded into it. It's basically an active anti-cheat that scans your computer, or should I say your active resources for the game as you're playing it. So it has a list of things it's looking for, meaning known cheats, known hacks, and it scans your resources as you're using them for them. It's not a very effective process. Now, the original VAC, or VAC 1, was released in 2002. That gave you bans that were as little as 24 hours. Then it expanded to a year to 5 years. In 2005, they released VAC 2, which is a much better system, and they started doing the permabans, where basically if you got caught, you'd never use that account on a VAC secure server ever again. But I digress. Relying on VAC has always been a bad idea. All serious players, they go to a third party, usually Faceit or ESEA, or things that have a constantly updated active anti-cheat that you are required to run while you're playing the game. The only effective response that Valve has released is Overwatch. Wait. Oh, that makes more sense. It was released as a beta, May 22nd of 2013. This is a community-run project. So basically, you report somebody in the game, it goes to Overwatch, a bunch of random people see a demo for 10 rounds, and they judge whether or not you're hacking beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, it's a very funny phrase because beyond a reasonable doubt is very tricky. Nevertheless, Overwatch was taken out of beta on June 10th of 2015. Even with all of these anti-cheat options, I will still get tons of cheaters in my game. I have a notepad where I just played non-prime for 2 weeks, and I just kept a list of how many people were cheating and who was cheating, and I kept tabs on who got banned and who didn't, and it was a lot of people. There's even over in China, they're trying something called Perfect World. Now it's kind of weird what this is. I have a very hard time understanding it, but what it appears to be is in China, they basically validate their Steam accounts using their identity, like their license or their passport, whatever. They verify their identity, and then they play competitively. So it's a way, it's not really an anti-cheat, but it's like Prime to the 10th power. It's like a way of really solidifying your account and making sure you're not going to be cheating on that account. And if I'm wrong or somebody has a better explanation, please leave a comment, say something. I would love to know. But this brings me to my next point. The skins. Now, this is an update that I went over earlier where on August 14th in 2013, the arms deal update was released. This is when they released skins into CSGO again. So I'm touching base on this because obviously there's been gambling going on. This is a kind of an elephant in the room kind of thing with CSGO. And I wanted to touch base on a few things before the end of this video. Each skin, because of their rarity, because of how many people are selling them at one time, because of how many were unboxed, they each are given their own value. Some are worth more than another, and this is measured in US dollar, correct? So these gambling sites, they made sites for it. You could trade your skins in as casino chips, basically, and convert them into credit, and you would just bet the credit, or just bet the skin themselves, bet the amount of the skin. $49 skin, $49 bet, so on and so forth. They had actual games, roulette and coin flip and crash and so on and so on. These still exist, but I'm gonna make a point. So there is this one website that basically was the heart of it all, and this one website is OPSkins. OPSkins is a very legitimate website that used bots to trade items into the site, out of the site, instantly. With this feature, you could unbox, say, like a Dragon Lore or a really expensive skin and put it into the site and sell it for actual money. You'd probably only get like 70% of the value, but it would be in actual cash money sent to your PayPal or even your bank account. So this was very popularized because of these features. Instead of having Steam credit, you would get actual money. So by the same token, people would just buy a skin and throw it into a gambling site. And with this problem came kids just stealing their mother's credit cards and just buying these skins and gambling their sites. And these are all underage kids. These are all just people that shouldn't be doing this. This shouldn't be allowed for a reason. These gambling sites were popularized and even advertised by streamers. And then there's going to be one streamer I'm going to point out specifically is Phantom Lord. Ironically, he actually kind of looks like my brother, but that's besides the point. This guy basically constantly streamed and advertised a site known as CSGO Shuffle. Now, this was later found out that he was actually the owner of this site. Someone later came forward with Skype messages that heavily suggest, almost to a degree of certainty, that Phantom Lord is the owner of CSGO Shuffle. So basically, he would change the odds in which they would win, and he would be betting, we're talking $10,000 at a clip, and people would bet against him and lose. Like, this was a very serious thing. And he wonders still to this day why his account got banned. He doesn't understand it, he says. So now he just spends his days on YouTube making Fortnite videos, and if you watch his actual view count, he doesn't have that many. So because of people like this, because of sites like this, Valve was forced to send cease and desist letters to all of these sites, not including OPSkins, and people always wondered why these sites got these letters, but OPSkins didn't when they broke the same rules. And we're talking CSGO Speed, CSGO Big, CSGO Fast, CSGO Wild, Skin Arena, WTF Skins. All of these sites got cease and desist letters. They are not allowed to use the Steam API anymore at risk of being sued. They're not allowed to show any CSGO skins or advertise CSGO skins in any way, or any Valve skins for that matter. So finally, after all this, Valve loses patience on March 29th, 2018. They release an update that if you just traded an item, you cannot retrade it for 7 days. This completely crippled the entire gambling community and all of the sites. In a direct response, OPSkins releases a feature called Instant Trade, which basically, if you trade a skin into the site, let's say a Redline field-tested AK-47, and it's worth $7, if they have an identical one on the site already that's already been sitting for 7 days, you can instantly trade it into a different site, trade it to a person, or whatever. So this new feature 100% goes against what Valve just tried so hard to do. So, as a direct response, they got a message on Twitter from one of Valve's lawyers. The short version is, stop using our skins to advertise, stop using our skins for anything. We don't want to see any of Valve games on your website ever again. So, while they still trade them, they are held on the website, and they have no pictures of anything. That's why every time I show the clip, it looks like it does. If you take into account the skin popularity, or lack thereof, their lack of wholesome updates in recent years, combined with an obvious neglect for its players, CSGO is definitely a game nearing its end. They may still have huge tournaments, they may have diehard fans, but if you take away all of the third-party options that CSGO has used as a crutch for all of these years, you're left with a completely dead game. This has pushed many players to go after games like PUBG, Fortnite, even Overwatch, where the game developers are constantly looking to improve and variate the game, often based off of player feedback. I've literally loved this game to death, and probably will continue playing it from time to time, but it's definitely been put on the back burner for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I did a lot of work to make it. If you enjoy like the informational style videos, definitely let me know, and there'll be more to come. I've included links in the description to the articles included in the video for verification purposes, obviously. Subscribe on here if you enjoy gaming videos. I also stream from time to time on Twitch. All links are in the description, and I want to thank you for watching. For those of you who stayed till the end, here's a picture of Nexus from 2006.